Joining us right now, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Joe DiGenova. Joe, if I know you the way I think I know you, you've pretty much done an all-nighter following this story, yes?
Yes, absolutely. Hard not to watch when you've got that old law enforcement stuff in your blood.
Yes.
Pretty amazing scene up in Boston. Chechnyan rebels, and that's who these people are. They are Islamic terrorists. Let's get it out right now. No fooling around. I know the president doesn't want to say it. These words will never pass his lips because he wanted the guard down of this country. He wanted us to slacken off because he wanted us to forget about terrorism. Well, he got a wake-up call the other day in Boston, and now it's Chechnyan Islamic terrorists who have come to America. Did somebody hire them? Were they brought in by another Islamic terrorist group? Mr. President, wake up. Wake up, Mr. President.
Joe DiGenova, understand the passion. I do. And since that these two suspects are now identified as Chechnyans, I guess the question is, why here? Their fight is with the Russian Republic and for their independence there. What would be their purpose of perpetrating this crime if it turns out to be true that these are the suspects?
They have always believed that the American government was in cahoots with whatever the central government in Russia was. They believed that the drone policy of Obama, not George Bush, they believe that the drone policy of Obama is designed specifically and categorically to kill people of the Islamic religion. They believe, and they are crazy. These people are even crazier than Al-Qaeda. Remember what they did. They blew up a school and killed hundreds of children. The target was children. Do you all recall that? It was one of the worst terrorist events in the history of Russia. These people are against the United States because of our tactics. And by the way, they're absolutely wrong about that. The drone is a great policy, and killing them with drones is a great idea. But make no mistake about it, that's because we use drones and they don't like it.
Now, Joe, from your perspective as a former U.S. District Attorney, as you watch these events unfold, you see this manhunt going on in Watertown, which is about a 4-square-mile radius. What authority do police have in this fluid situation in terms of search and seizure? I mean, all bets are off at this point. This is, I'm guessing, that there's really no concern about privacy rights. Right?
This is what the Supreme Court has called a fast-moving street scene. Under this rubric of the law, when you have a fast-moving street scene, you have, in essence, a crime in progress. The police can do anything they want. They can go anywhere they want. They cannot use deadly force against private citizens, but they can go into buildings. They do not need warrants. They can do whatever they have to do. They can move physical objects. They can push cars aside. They can go into both public and private places. They can go into private homes. They have complete authority under a fast-moving street scene. And since we now know that the person they are chasing is a terrorist who has killed people, who has thrown, according to the reports I talked to with people in the middle of the night, thrown hand grenades at the police, this is now a life-threatening situation with more explosives possibly being used. They are under shoot-to-kill orders. And the police have done a very good job up there in warning the people about staying indoors. So the police have a total free hand.
All right, so this all started to percolate and intensify once the FBI made the decision to release the pictures. And by the way, you've seen those pictures from the press conference at 5 o'clock. The FBI later released a better picture,
yes,
head-on shot, the two brothers apparently now standing side by side, looking almost directly into the camera. When you saw that picture, and if you knew those people, it would have been very easy to say, I know those guys. And so the thing intensified. You've been behind the scenes in these kinds of situations where you're trying to decide how much information do we release to the public. Take me to what kind of discussion was probably going on then.
Well, there are two considerations here. If you already have these people under surveillance, you might want to release their pictures so that they do something and that you're able to find out whether or not they have cohorts. That's called tickling the wire. For example, when you have a wiretap on a bunch of mafia guys, you tell them something, and then you wait to hear whether or not they get on the telephone and start talking to their cohorts so you can track them down. So you might want to release their photos so that they would get on the line and they would start talking to people, or they would move. And apparently what happened was once their pictures were shown, they decided that they were going to get caught anyway. And so they apparently gathered up objects, bombs, guns,
grenades,
hand grenades, put them in there, and then they hijacked a car, and put the stuff in it. Of course, they shot the policeman on MIT campus when they tried to rob a convenience store to get some things that they apparently needed. And then that. But I think that the FBI did the right thing. I think the other day when they had all this horrible thing about where they're going to have a news conference where these people are arrested, that was just really bad coordination.
But it's got to be a tough call, Joe.
Yeah, it is a tough call. But in this instance, releasing their photo, they were at a point where they needed help. And it obviously worked because in less than 24 hours, one of the guys is dead and the other one is on the run. So the tactic worked, and they get an A+ for doing it right. These are imperfect situations.
Right.
You can be wrong, you can be right, but somebody's got to make the decision. For example, when we had you will recall, Brian, when the guy tried to blow up the Washington Monument and had his tool truck there,
right,
and claimed that he was going to blow it up. I was U.S. attorney at that time. We had the ability to wiretap the phone inside the Washington Monument that he was using to make calls. So everything has to be done on a situational basis. That's what these guys get paid for. I think they did a great job in Boston over the last couple days under extremely difficult circumstances. And I give the local police up there a lot of credit.
Yes.
They have really, really done a good job.
Joe DiGenova, great stuff. Bring in the heat this morning. Thanks for joining us. Continue listening as I know you will.
We may tap back into your resource again.
Anytime, guys. Never stop listening to WMAL.